going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check. This is the state of wrestling, and that is Jake fucking DeMarco. What's going on, buddy?
What's going on, my friend? Happy to be here. I think you and I have a better and more lengthy build than WWE has done for any PLE this year, minus WrestleMania. My God, right?
I'm not gonna go there.
Ah,
I have some things to say one way or the other, but it's like, yes, we've got multiple shows, but it's like, okay, we built this title match for this show, we built this title match for this show, we built this title match for this show. It's not like we went from one to the other, and it's like, oh, the shows were 2 weeks apart, but that title build has been built for the past 2 months.
they announced
So,
Evolution 7 weeks ago, or there
yep,
was a 7 week build, however it works. I think it was 7 weeks ago when it came out finally, and it's like, hey, by the way, this is what's happening. So why
people are
did they not
still
start
trying to
then?
put it. What I think is kind of funny, all the counter programming crybabies are still trying to say that Evolution specifically was designed to counter program All In, which is the next day,
Yeah,
and I
because what
don't
they're
get it.
thinking is that, oh, people won't pay for that because they already have content. And if anyone's watching All In, they're not gonna not watch another show or watch. Like the
Mhm.
audiences, wrestling audiences, as tribal as some may be, a lot of it is intersect, as you know. AEW's
Yeah, the
audience,
amount of people that only watch one or only watch the other, and I mean,
yes,
we rip the piss out of AEW, but I still watch it because I've always, I know you've not watched a full episode of Dynamite in ages, but I've tried to
yeah, not
stick to the
live,
bare
anyways. Yeah, absolutely not.
I've I've tried to stick to the bare bones thing of like, I'll rip the piss out of something, but if I'm ripping the piss out of something, I've watched it. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not just seeing like a 5-second clip out of context on X or whatever. Speaking of which,
Really quick,
there's a transition
I
for
was
you.
about to ask you because you had the best transition. I just stepped all over it. I was about to say,
Oh,
have you seen what the AEW ratings are today? It's Wednesday, so that's how you know where my brain is. But NXT drew in 627,000 viewers, so it's
okay.
down from the week before, which was 729. But there was
Okay.
heavy competition with all the the All Star games and stuff. We'll see what the tail of the tape is tonight with AEW being their 300th episode. Interesting to see
You know
that
what I wanna say, though?
they hate
Fair,
WCW.
to be fair, because every time that there's a really, really low, um, number rating, whatever you wanna call it, for AEW, and somebody says, "Oh, well, it's because of this, this, and this," I don't let that fly. So, to be fair, I'm not gonna let it fly for NXT either. If that's the number we got last night, then that's the number we got
Oh,
last night.
absolutely. Yeah. I'm curious to see if
Um,
AEW beats it with the 300th episode. They
maybe.
got Okada and Kota Ibushi in a non title match. That's supposed to be. I'm sorry, but Okada, since he's been signed, has done nothing for me. And Ibushi is like a shell of his former self after that injury. Like,
We
ugh.
we are gonna have a long time to talk about that. Should we tell them, anybody listening to us right now who's
You got my
lasted through the first
segue,
couple of minutes
buddy.
of ramble, um, there's a lot coming up. You're gonna get a lot from us. You guys are gonna get sick of us. So a couple little programming notes. Tomorrow night, Jake and I are going to be back here. We are going to be doing a prediction for MLP Resurrection.
Woo!
Specifically, I'm looking at Ace Austin versus Josh Alexander for that card. Also, Shotzi Blackheart is taking on Giselle Shaw for the MLP Women's Championship. So we're going to get a chance to talk about all that and more tomorrow night.
Shotzi has been
Sometime
on a roll too, so I'm looking forward to chit chatting it up with you tomorrow
I
night about that.
I
No doubt
I have
about
to
it.
catch up on what she's been doing elsewhere. I know she's fighting for the title of Indie God with Matt Cardona, which is a lot of fun. I know she's getting into a lot more of her like horror based stuff as well, which I need to get caught up on. Over the weekend, probably Sunday, Jake and I are doing the yearly tradition AEW All In. What the fuck is this show 2025 will drop this weekend at some point, barring all incidents. And then we roll into next week because they clearly tried to counter program WWE with this All In show.
I
But
know.
still,
How rude.
WWE's rolling strong. We are going to knock out in one podcast. We're going to do the Great American Bash. We're going to slip in a little bit of Saturday night's main event as well because I'm not making that a separate pod because Saturday night's main event is not really inspiring me, but they've still got some stuff there. We got to talk about Goldberg and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then the following night, as well as we roll on into the later portions of next week, we will be previewing Evolution, which is already as much as
shaping up.
people want to say, it's shaping up and it's being shaped up relatively quickly. But the people that are like, "Oh my god, this is such a shambles," one wrestler gets injured and the whole thing goes ass over tea kettle. Well, first of all, why let's just not use somebody getting injured as an excuse to take a jab at the company. Maybe don't be dicks.
Yeah, no
But
kidding.
I already like what we've got. There's some spoilers from SmackDown that I'm not going to touch, but I know you got in trouble for mentioning on your show.
No, I didn't just mention, I was showing. We had
Yeah,
our
you had
man
a
on
man
the
on the ground.
inside. Exactly. Paul 3, thank
Mhm.
you again, my good man. He's been helping out behind the scenes so much with the show for a long time now, and I brought him into the fold. He's got a very equal mind to you, my good man. And I was like, did
Nice.
Spaz say that or Paul? I'm not sure. But
Oh,
point
good.
being, he was
Hey,
showing
careful
us
with
the
that. Somebody
opening.
might get offended. Anyways,
You
so
never
all of you
know.
guys listening to me out there, the numbers are creeping up for me very, very slowly. I appreciate it. It's largely due to the guy across the microphone from me, but
Don't give
we're
me the
we're ticking
credit. You're the
along.
wrestling podcast god, my friend.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I'm
Let's
just
not.
the
Let's
prayer
let
deity.
let's not. But the numbers are slowly rolling, guys. If you guys are watching on YouTube, please do consider, hopping over to Rumble or Spotify or whatever, because YouTube's always being a little bit weird. I don't want to go full Steven Crowder, but like, if we rolled over into Rumble, that wouldn't hurt my feelings in the slightest. But yeah, long story short, or sorry, long story long, at this point, you're getting 5 podcasts from us in the next 2 weeks. So
Yeah.
you guys are gonna get sick of us real quick. But it means, above all else, there is not going to be a quote unquote state of wrestling next week, because anything we need to talk about, we'll shove into one of the other
Yeah, that's going to
previews.
be more prediction based, like you said. We're really not going to be able to do much of like we'll cover if there's any major
Yeah,
incidents, but I'm still going to be live both Wednesdays. I'll be live this week and next week
go check out Jake.
for Into Somewhere Weekly. So that'll be more like news based. So after you and I do the predictions over there, we're going to do like quick picks and then go right into like all the big updates. So get a little bit
Yeah.
of both worlds. And as always, I appreciate you hopping on this next upcoming Sunday for the Evolution 2 review that also, as you said, bleeds into the entire
Everything else.
fucking weekend. Bring it on, baby. Woo!
Who starts a fight at all in this time? They can't blame CM Punk.
My
But no,
money
I
is
will
on
say
Sammy
shout out,
Guevara.
yeah, shout out to you and Cody for all the stuff you guys are doing on your side. I know you've got a couple other talking heads that sort of move in and out as I do. So everybody go check out Jake as well. Also go check out our friends at the Wrestling for Life Network. Last weekend they did their men's mental health live stream. It's still available to watch now. It's worth a listen. Those guys are doing really cool shit.
That was amazing, and they did. I had people. Oh, amazing! No, they really did a great thing, and it's one of those you deserve a chance. Like I'm just and I even got a free membership in the chat the other day. Can't beat that. Thank you again. But
Ooh.
I'm glad to see them getting traction and support like they are. So it's cool to
Oh yeah.
see this guy. I really, you got me into watching them, and I'm not a big watch along guy because it's not that I can't stay with it, but I feel like I don't want to do commentary, and I don't want to just repeat what I'm watching. But they do it in
Yeah.
such a way where like they're interacting with the chat. They've got it down to a cycle. As where I like to review and go over everything afterwards, like the what ifs, the
Yeah,
possibilities, what's
gut
next.
reaction afterwards and all that. I've
Yeah,
always said it was what culture that got me into watching watch along content, and
yes.
then they kind of fell off for various reasons. I think their company went in a slightly different direction, and
More than
I think
WCPW
for
died a horrible death. That's what it was.
well, that too, but I mean the actual like what culture broadcasting thing.
Oh
Anyways,
yeah, yeah.
I'm not going to speculate on their business stuff because that wouldn't be fair. Point being, in the meantime, I think I was already following Big Nick on X, and I think I just stumbled into their stream, and I'm like, I want to do some kind of watch along. And I will say this point blank period. I made the point a second ago. I will not shit on AEW unless I'm watching it because I don't think it's fair. I would not be sitting through full episodes of Dynamite if it was not for those guys. So I've already plugged my buddy here. I'm plugging those guys like I always do. They're doing some good shit. Hopefully, we're doing some good shit. I think that's all the news and notes and programming and plugs that we had on the table.
Absolutely. And
So let's
there's
talk
a
about some of this
lot.
because I'm pushing you and I'm pushing those guys.
Yeah,
WWE's pushing some new people,
they
or
are.
not new people, but giving people that are already there new pushes. And I'm talking specifically
Exactly.
about Aleister Black and Karrion Cross.
People are ridiculous in certain ways of like how they've treated this surge of attention for carrying Cross.
Yeah.
With the whole like, oh, he won't take a flat back bump and like the ridiculous side of it because I don't want to say it's AEW sickos going, but people going after him with clips being like, oh, he doesn't even want to take a a flat back bump when literally every clip is him taking, after the fact. Like it was just something ridiculous to nitpick because he's
Mhm.
doing well. And you know what? People were so mad and upset that he lost the match, myself included. I said, we'll see if it plays into the story, but it is. And I like it. And I like what they're doing here. I wish they didn't make Sammy such a real deity there. We've already got enough people vying for fealty at this point. We don't need any more false prophets and gods. Because I mean, Sammy gets his ribs beat in with a metal pipe, and that shot looked great. These two, I said last week that was the best worked punch, and apparently it was just not
Mm.
worked. It was a shoot punch. That's why
He
it
said,
looked
"Go
so
ahead and
good.
hit me."
Yep.
Yeah.
And the rib shot
But they had a
too
good
was a good
match.
one.
Like,
It was
I
stellar.
know we didn't talk after the show. I know you did your review. I wasn't able to join you. But, like, like, it's not gonna blow anybody out of the water, but, like, Sammy was in Saudi, and he got the hero's reception that way, which is awesome. Gotta love that for him. One of the few people who can actually look at those shows as an actual positive experience. Love that for him.
Yeah,
He
absolutely.
he not saying that it was a bad choice, he could have lost that match.
Oh, he didn't need to win, but I see what they're going with. Like
I get why, yeah.
I'm not defending it. I still don't agree with it. I don't think he
Yeah,
should have lost. Cross needed the win there because you're
yep,
touting all this stuff, but you can't back it up. And I get what they're going for. They want to make it so Sammy the infallible, and eventually when he does go to the other side and fall to the wayside and become evil, all right, that's fine. But there's also like a lot of things that feel missing. You know what I mean? And
right.
I guess I'm being a little impatient with it, but I feel like this whole carrying Cross
Mm.
thing should have kicked off a while ago. Like right after Mania, maybe they should have dove in, and perhaps that's the problem with some of us fans. We want it right away, but there is an
I will
gigantic
say there's
issue.
there's 2 sides to that. I get the whole, like, they're not keeping him off TV because we see him and he's poking and prodding and he's doing the stuff, right? And absence makes the heart grow fonder, but have him on TV just enough to remind you that he's there or whatever. I do if you want to come and tell me that they're taking the piss with that a little bit and maybe stretching it out a little too long, I will hear that argument from people, not personally for myself, because I
Yeah.
think the guy is brilliant between what he's doing behind the scene, like not behind the scenes, but like when he's in the background of something, between that and his game on social media, getting people that way, I think he's brilliant. I think when this is all said and done, we're gonna say that this guy's way more brilliant than anybody gave him credit for.
Oh yeah.
If you wanna tell me that they're stretching it out and they're stretching people's patience, I wouldn't disagree with that, or I wouldn't push
Here's
back on
my
that
worry
idea
that I was
either.
saying, like the big issue. I look back at LA Knight, and it took him a
Mm,
while to really get back into this main event scene where he's just kind of scratching at still. Like he's not really there. He's
mm.
going against Seth, but he's not quite there.
And
Here's
he's okay, I know that they're looser with the, what do you call it, with the brand split than they used to, but
yeah,
it seems like he's just on Raw now. Like, he's picking fights
yeah.
with CM Punk, he's picking fights with Seth Rollins. He's like, who's he feuding with on SmackDown to counter the fact that he's feuding with 2 guys on Raw?
I really
Like,
I don't know.
WWE's far from perfect, and that's something they gotta tighten up a little bit because LA Knight is one of those guys who's really, really, really gonna get you, and it's very easy to fall off at
That's
the same
exactly
time.
what I'm trying to get at because I remember being, and I've said it so many times already. So I was at Collision, and the highest, of the highs was everybody chanting, "Yeah, LA, no, yeah," at an AEW
Mm.
Collision show. He was so over in 2023 when he went to originally go face Roman, and all the momentum
Well,
was like a natural
I said it to you
surge.
before, and I'm not saying this is necessarily a good thing, but when I was at Scotia for Edge's last WWE match in
Hmm.
the main event when he fought Sheamus,
Sheamus, yeah.
fun match, really cool moment. Obviously, Edge saying goodbye to WWE in Toronto, like that was getting yeah chance. which I'm not saying in that particular case, I'm not necessarily saying it is a good thing because, like, let him have his moment, but also, like, look at how big that was, and people were still doing the LA Knight thing. Um, but yeah, Karrion Kross is one of those people who's not I don't think how can I say this? I don't think people will fall off of him like LA Knight have because LA Knight is on our screens every week and it's getting to be hit or miss. Cross is kept in the background enough that nothing's had a chance to miss, and you're still anticipating a hit. So I
Yeah,
don't think to
exactly.
me personally, I don't know whether you see it the same way or not, but I don't think he's in that area yet. And plus, he's just playing a dick and a manipulator. And people say it all the time, whether they like it or not is a different story. Triple H loves that backstage. Two people are talking. That's not what matters. What's happening behind them is what
Yeah.
matters.
What's going on over here?
Yeah,
Exactly.
they use it a lot, and I will say I'm obviously a big fan of how Triple H has like turned things around and whatever. You're allowed to like Triple H, and you're allowed to say, "Hey, bud, you're kind of stuck in one gear a
I'm
little
not gonna
bit."
lie though, Spaz, if I see anybody walking down the street in a "I'm a Paul Levesque guy" shirt,
Yep.
I'm gonna have to fuck him up. Like
Why?
on site. Let Paul Heyman have his shirt, goddammit. Does Triple H's
Oh,
ego
okay.
not be satiated enough?
Oh, is that a literal thing?
Oh yeah, they sell it on WWE Shop right now.
Oh, I thought you were making some kind of like weird random reference.
No,
I didn't
no,
know.
they
I didn't
have
know that
a
that was a
they have a
thing.
Triple H shirt that says "I'm a Paul Levesque guy" now instead of yeah, we're in the Paul Levesque era. He's got his own merch.
I will say though, they've done that for more than just him. Like they've done the playoff shirt
Oh
for
yeah,
more than just
UFC
him as well. So it's not.
316 and no
Yeah,
doubt about it. I'm just saying like it was still a
let him have his thing. Yeah,
yeah.
you
You
could just
couldn't do
get one.
something else original,
Save
you
some
know?
money on lettering and just get a shirt that says "I'm a Paul guy."
Exactly. And then
There you go.
Logan's covered too, you know?
There you go. Oh my god. Tag team of Triple H and Logan Paul managed by Paul.
There we go.
Let's go. Speaking of tag teams, random tangent. Two of our favorites, the former Baron Corbin, Bishop Dyer, and
Yes.
Dijak are not MLP, MLW tag team champions, the Skyscrapers.
Yes, which is awesome, and I do wanna go back and talk about Aleister Black eventually as well. You did mention him
Oh
on the
yeah,
up and
well,
coming, but
that was I just wanted to throw that out really quick because I think
how
that's
cool
really
is
cool.
that for them to go ahead and get those titles, and now they're like I was like, "Yeah, that's what I wanna see." It's just a happy thing to see them like, "Alright, you guys are succeeding when people didn't
It
give
takes
you
a little bit
the
away.
light of
Like
day."
I don't want to see anybody get let go. That's not my point here. But it
No.
takes a little bit out of that argument of like, oh my God, they threw them out of WWE and now they're left like a rock in the water. Like, no, they're not. There's like a billion other places to go, like the Mud Show that you guys keep praising.
Oh, they took their name, they took their you think, Alana Black is carrying right now that she can't be Cora Jade? She's making, bang over buck.
She's, I'm not gonna lie, man. She's on the Ronda Rousey, Nikki Bella thing of like, I've made my WWE now money. Now I'm gonna make my bashing WWE money.
Yes.
She's on that tear, and it's not like, "Oh, you're a bitch. How dare you be a bitch," or whatever. It's not, and I could care less if she has an OnlyFans. I
Yeah.
really could. I really could care less. It's not one of those, "Oh, she's got an OnlyFans, so now she's a slut," or whatever. No. I could care less. If you
Exactly,
can get
but
money if you can get people to pay money for the tits that to look at the tits that you paid for,
yes,
grab the bag.
exactly.
We all would do it if we could.
If I was
Nobody
hot
wants
enough
to
for
look at my
people that would
tits.
wanna look at me, exactly. I have always said I wish I was a girl because I would have been a stripper day one. I said, "Danny, what are you doing wrong? Come on, go get those
Well,
those single
she's
men."
doing interviews now. Like she's picked up a couple of like indie titles, and good for her. Like no shade, good for her. You've gone other places. You've taken the name you made in WWE. You've got yourself a couple extra bookings, and you've got some indie titles. And I hope she does well. But she's doing that stomp the foot. Oh, I wouldn't even go back now if they asked me. Yeah, you would.
Yeah, of course you would.
Like fuck off.
Of course you would.
Fuck off.
Of
But yeah,
course
like
you would.
it is, but it gives a little bit of credence. I mean, we use Matt Cardona as like the prime example. Cody Rhodes is a prime example. Oh, if WWE lets you go, they're throwing you out in the street with paper shoes. Like they're not.
They're not,
I don't want to see
and
people get let go, but
it's
it's not
so
a death sentence.
disingenuous now because maybe they're You know, when you really go ahead and you pull it all apart, what the thing is that there are no true burnt bridges in wrestling
No, of
ever.
course not.
All there ever is maybe a little damage, but they managed to get back through that freeway because it's all about, in the end of the day, making money. Feelings get hurt, people get upset, things go wrong. It's life, baby. Just office drama with meatheads, men and women meatheads. Women can be meatheads too. Everybody's got that
They like the meat.
insecurity about them. Yes, but everybody has
Bro, let me tell you
those
something.
deep insecurities, and it runs rampant. So
There's 3 things that I thought would never happen again, and they're all happening this year. I saw CM Punk live in a WWE ring. They put the chamber back in the dome,
in the dome.
and I'm going to Lincoln Park in a month.
Oh, I know, you lucky bastard.
So, like, anything can happen is beyond wrestling at this point. Anyways, but
I like how
as
you
you say,
still
to get
think you're going, because I'm going to make sure that Cody, when he's you, goes ahead and becomes me so I could be you so that I can go to the concert. Let's see you follow
take my
that.
brain out of my skull and put it in the jar.
In the dome.
Put some glasses on the Rock. It's fine.
It's fine.
But anyways, as you said, getting back to my initial point, we've talked about Karrion Kross a little bit. I want to loop in Aleister Black with this as well because they were both sort of getting like raised noses and turned shoulders at them for a little bit. Cross wasn't getting on TV. Black, obviously he's going to get the shade of, oh, how dare you leave AEW, come back to WWE. But it was
Oh
true when he came
boy.
back, he did what everybody, like a lot of people that came back or debuted in WWE. Let's see what you can do. Throw you in a match with The Miz, or
Yeah.
throw you in in a match with Carmelo Hayes because he's teaming with The Miz. And I'm not, you know me, I like The
But
Miz, but like it is cookie cutter.
well,
He's
here's the
become
thing
the new
though. It
Ziggler.
was fans out there that knew him were like, cool, I get to see Aleister Black return, and then the
Oh
fans
yeah.
that didn't got to see what he was made of. I thought they handled it
No,
really
I get
well.
it. I get it, but I'm not so much specifically with Aleister Black, but I'm saying in general, Miz has become the new Ziggler. Ziggler was always the guy. Okay, we got a brand new guy. Let's see what they can do. Or you want to remind them who this guy is? Put
Yeah.
him in Ziggler. And Miz is a great foil because he can get his ass kicked for the rest of his career, and it's not going to hurt him.
No, no
But
doubt.
what's predictable is not always the most exciting. So I get the criticism from that point of view. But
Yeah.
I wanna stack up Aleister Black and Karrion Kross coming from different contexts of criticism to where they are now. Oh, they're never gonna push Aleister Black properly. They're never gonna give Karrion Kross a push, period. They don't even let him have matches.
And now
Well,
both of them are in feuds and actual stories, and there's different elements to things.
but
I mean,
not even just stories though. Like I know he's not everybody's favorite, but putting Black in there with Priest
yeah, is a
is a
big
pretty
deal.
good shout.
I mean,
Like,
Priest was the world heavyweight champion after cashing in at Mania last year. Like he had a really good, successful run until Gunther got it. It was like, right, Gunther?
I have a feeling they're going to hit each other hard.
Yes, and it'll be a great thing to witness, to watch, and behold. And that's kind of the thing, though. Like,
And Cross is fighting Sammy.
yes, and both sides are getting these things done. Like, things are progressing. Maybe not at the pace that we want, but it's
Yeah.
still like they did not bring back Aleister Black and then do nothing with him. He's been out in front of people wrestling, and not just
Yeah.
wrestling, but putting on pretty damn good matches. He's not going above and beyond yet because you're going to save it, but we know he wanted to be a singles talent. He openly said like he didn't oppose the House of Black. He just thought that it was going to be like his guys behind him, like everybody, like instead of, oh, you're a trios team now,
I think that I'm not gonna lie though, the feud with Aleister Black and Damian Priest, I think is gonna help both of them.
Oh,
Because there's some still
absolutely.
not entirely unfounded. There's still some people that kind of waver on Damian Priest because there's bits of his title run that were lacking, if I want to be nice about it. Through no fault of his own, through a lot of it was the booking and the timing and all that kind of thing. I think off the back of a Black Priest feud, and obviously like there Ron Killings is in the middle. Basically, he's gonna be feuding with Black because Black beat up his buddy.
Yeah,
and then that's how you get to the Priest and Black feud.
but
But
that's
I
all
think
you
off the
need.
but I think off the back of that, they both get a direction. I think it's one of those, like, mutually beneficial things. I think Priest will maybe ultimately win and get himself into a not necessarily when Cena still has the title, but whoever takes the title off of Cena maybe has another go at Priest. Maybe you get a Priest Cody thing off the back of this. I think you get Black off this, looking good, looking strong in a couple of brawls that we can actually talk about.
So
I
is
think you get
Black the heel though, or are they doing like? Because he hasn't really like. I think he's just kind of that like badass loner goth guy as of right now,
I
instead
think
of
he's yeah,
being.
he's that he's not a monster, but they can book him like a monster.
Yeah,
If he's in
which is
there with a
interesting.
baby face, if he's in there hurting a baby face, people will boo him. If he's in there hurting a heel, people will cheer him. I think he can occupy that neutral spot, and he's coming from an understandable place too, as well. He feels like he was kind of like his toe was kind of stepped on by Ron Killings,
Uh,
right? Because you
wh-
know the cut
yes.
the cut in and whatever.
What's the
But
word I'm
like
looking for when you're what is it when you can use your both right and left handed? Is that
ambidextrous.
ambidextrous? Oh my goodness, I could not think of the word. Thank you. That's kind of
You were gonna say
Alistair Black.
omnipresent, weren't
Yes,
you?
some no, I was saying omnidex. Like I was in that kind of,
You
So
were making words,
I was just combining
you damn
slop.
lefty. Anyway,
So that's
I'm
the
an
thing, though.
asshole, it's fine.
He fits perfectly with, like you said, wherever you put this man, his appendage fits very well, and he's
Yep.
very, very great. It works. All of it works.
Because here's the thing, right?
Him
And
going
I
for the
want
U.S. title?
yes, because you know how every now and then, and we've had this conversation before in a lot of things, where it's like, I don't know if it'll be the best, but I kinda wanna look at it. Eventually, Fatu, obviously, like Priest or sorry, Black versus Fatu is a match I wanna see.
Yeah.
Before that, I'm interested in what Black versus Solo looks like,
Imagine Black takes a title from Solo, and then,
and Fatu comes back for it.
yep. And you just see again. That's what I said. You and I, after the fact, we like to break
Same
it
brain.
down. What are the feuds? What's coming out of it? Where can they go from here?
But if these get like these if these guys are your 2 projects, right, from
Yes.
not they're not the same, they have similarities,
Yes, but they
but they're
line
not the
up in a lot of
same.
ways because of
Cross is like the master manipulator, cult leader guy, Black's the more,
and
like,
they've both been let
generic, little
go
bit
and
of a
brought
cult yeah.
back and let go and brought
Oh, yeah.
back and
But if
they
you build these
so
guys here's the thing, like, and not everything is meant to build to the Royal Rumble, right? But
no.
you build these guys properly on their best show you got a couple months left, and Rumble's gonna be in Saudi, everybody's gonna be weird about it. These 2 come out as your number 1 and number 2 in the Rumble,
Yeah.
that's an interesting start.
Ooh,
I don't
baby.
I don't wanna have it where, like, everybody brawls, everybody kinda falls down, and then, like, these
And then
guys get a
wait.
stare off for a couple of seconds.
No.
I want it at the beginning. Let
Fight.
these guys stare each other down and fight, because Black, even though he's, like, creepy, gothy, whatever, he's also, like, the martial arts, like, kick your head off guy.
Mhm.
So, like,
It's
that's
fight
it's
night. I want to see him in Sheamus. I want like there's a
fair.
lot
But it's
of
kinda like when you
things
see,
out
like,
there.
Undertaker came out and he was like, "Oh, dark goth creatures of the night, whatever," and then he's like a boxer out of nowhere. Black kind of has a similar thing. I don't want to associate him with The Undertaker because it's not cool to like The Undertaker anymore, fuck off. But, like, it's a very similar thing with their fighting, and Cross will just maul him. I really like the I don't think he's necessarily hurt by the loss. I think Cross had a hell of a showing in Saudi. The idea that we're doing Rumble and potentially Survivor Series in Saudi next year
That's a bit
is
much if you ask me. Like
troubling.
that's a lot, and I get it because
That is
what
a
they're
lot.
trying to do. They're because people
They're
travel for
trying to burn through the
WrestleMania.
dates.
Not even just that. They're trying to increase tourism because they feel like since people will travel to international markets to see WWE, like big shows like WrestleMania and SummerSlam, and the Rumble people travel for, that's like their second biggest travel show over SummerSlam. More people travel out of the
Uh,
country and whatnot. That's what they keep showing. All the tourism boards, all the look how great Saudi is.
mhm,
The new
mhm.
Saudi 2026 vision. Remember they had all that where John Cena was touting how amazing they were and how much they changed and women are not killed on the streets until 5 p.m. Like they really go above and beyond with the changes. So One woman
I think it's
danced in
funny
the
that I
street and then
like,
she lost her
I
head,
know I
but
know I know you're being facetious, but it does come back to that one thing where I have to say, like, nobody's gonna say, like, "Oh, Saudi turned over a brand new leaf and everything's all good now," but, like,
no.
if you look at the first couple of shows
And how it
compared to how they
changed,
are now, like, you can't
night
say
and
they
day
haven't moved at all.
difference.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't even gonna go that far. I was just gonna say you can't say they
No,
have maybe they haven't moved as much as some people want. Fair conversation. I
they
will
have
have that
moved
conversation.
immensely. Look back to that first show, that what was it, the Super
Yeah.
Showdown, and they had
No, the first
nothing.
one was the Greatest Royal Rumble.
Greatest Royal Rumble, you're right. And they had all of the princes and everybody sitting up front in like these sofa
Yep.
seats, and nobody cheered, nobody booed. Really, like it was just quiet and weird. And now it's kids and families and fun and eating, and it's just a
And women
different
wrestlers.
environment. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Then they can actually be on the card and not just because they're hidden underneath burkas either. Like they can actually wrestle. So I'm telling you, like uh,
And
as
they
much
hated
as
CM Punk until they loved him.
yep, and I see some of the criticism, I see some of the things. My biggest criticism right now with anything, and this is for a separate day, it just is the builds. They're
Yep.
hurting story by doing these rushed rapid fire builds because a lot of it seems unnecessary. Like you built up Gunther and Goldberg a few weeks out just fine. You want to get that out there because it's all in Texas, right? Brock? Huh? But I don't know. Like at least they're using people as much as I feel like they can. Maybe not 100% properly, but people are getting used. Roxanne is now a tag team champion. That's one of the things that we got all these new champs this week, and
Okay,
really like
I'm gonna call you on that one, and I'm not calling you directly. It's only because it's something else that I've heard today. Oh, they're just sliding. WWE thinks women are all interchangeable. Nobody cared when Naomi took Jade's place.
yeah.
Nobody cared when the New Day was doing a Freebird rule.
Hmm.
Nobody cared when the Freebirds
When the
were
New
doing
Day
a
did it
Freebird
week in
rule.
and week out, like you said, like it was no issue, and then
Nobody cared. I'm sorry, nobody cared when the Spirit Squad, a team of 5, held the tag team. So let's not be not you, but I'm saying in general, like, let's not be precious about this. Like,
exactly.
it's
I thought it was
not.
ridiculous. My original idea was do not vacate these titles, please. Again,
No.
we've seen this. Just give it to Roxanne. You're in the same damn group now. And it
Yep.
was weird because part of the story they're telling there, which Cody's really hung up on, and I don't blame him, but he's kind of right because
Mm,
Roxanne, how did she get the belt if Raquel had both of the belts? She was holding on to
fair.
both of them and said, "I'm not giving this, up until Liv comes back." So
I
when
do
we,
like the fact that they set up this match that we have coming up at Evolution as we will let Roxanne take Liv Morgan's place, but you're going to have to solidify your team's championship at
yeah,
the pay-per-view.
in a
So it
fatal
feels
four
like
way
they're
where you really
yeah,
the odds are
where you're really
fucking
fucked, yeah.
stacked.
So
Yeah,
it's kind of like we're saying yes, but
yeah,
you being the new champion will be solidified if you win at the pay-per-view. That's a there's
exactly.
there's a little bit like that doesn't it's like change one word in a sentence and it changes the whole sentence
Yes,
type of thing. Best thing I heard for a while.
but
It's
it's
not
still plagiarism.
sometimes like it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Yeah,
Have a nice day sounds a lot like nicer than enjoy your next 24 hours.
very true.
So the way that they framed it, the way that
Context
you know,
matters.
context matters, but like Finn obviously playing the manipulator within his own group, going to the GMs and saying, "All right, that
Yeah.
kind of sounds like a good idea.
What do you guys
Go
think of
prove go
this?
prove go prove it at the pay-per-view."
But I like how he made it feel like, oh, it's kind of like you guys came up with the idea, even though it was his plan all along. Like he played
Yeah.
into their egos, being
Even
like,
though they've been okay, see where it fell apart there was it's like, "Oh, yeah, he made it feel like it was their idea." They've been saying for like 2 weeks that we're gonna get together and decide what's going on with those
his
tag
tag
titles.
titles, yeah. So that, and then however she got the belt was a little bit of a flub. But all in all, I'm okay with it.
While we're on it, and I know we're gonna do Evolution properly next week, I
Yes,
wanna get your opinion on
because
this
things might
because
change before then. We don't know. The card is
it's true.
ever changing.
But the other announcement that they made on Raw was the fact that they're doing the Evolution Battle Royal to get a shot at Clash in Paris.
Yeah,
And it's just like, "Oh, just another battle royal," right? And I thought about this for a second because somebody made a similar comment about the, Dominic and AJ, match being postponed.
yeah,
I would agree, that a battle royal at one B pay-per-view to get a title shot at another B pay-per-view isn't the biggest prize in the world. Like, if it was a
No.
battle royal to see who gets the SummerSlam shot, if it was a battle royal to see who gets a shot at Mania, or like a battle royal to get into the Royal Rumble, even though that would be kind of stupid. Like, if it was going to a if
The
it was
reverse
if it,
battle royal.
hey, we're working with TNA now. But, like, the way I thought about it, though, and somebody said it about maybe we're saving Dominic and AJ for Clash in Paris.
Well, they
Think about the crowd in Paris.
yes, they love AJ,
They
and
love
that's when
AJ,
Finn was
and they
supposed to
love
turn.
they love everybody anyway.
Yes, but
So, I think to perform in front of that kind of rabid crowd takes it out of, "Oh, you just get a shot at some random B pay-per-view." It's kinda cool that they're going around the world to Paris and whatever, to a crowd that they know is gonna love them.
yeah.
And I mean, it's gonna be Stephanie Vacour. Let's be
Yeah.
real for a
But there's a
second.
lot of like layers to this, as you said,
Yeah.
and that's the thing that I've really enjoyed. Overall, like there's a lot of moving parts. Problem is with the Judgment Day, it's a lot of repeat storytelling. Feels like with Triple H so far, he's had like a few key storyline, the bloodline, the Judgment Day, little things, and they just kind of
Mm.
keep repeating, keep repeating. Now that Rhea's out, Liv's in. Now that Liv's out, Roxanne's in. Like it just kind of. So I
A lot
see
of
some
people
of
are
those
speculating that
criticisms, but
it's because Liv, I have said, even if she gets cleared, leave her off TV until the Rumble. She'll get a
yeah,
gigantic
you
pop
were
at the
adamant
Rumble.
about that. I was the
I
opposite, saying we need her sooner because of you got Judgment Day draped in gold, and I think what it's going to be is that Finn is tired finally of obviously Dirty Dom, and he's going to screw him to AJ because that was the reported plan up to 3 days before Liv got hurt. So
So, you know what? But, like, there is no way they can bring Liv back as a heel, right?
yeah, I don't see that
So,
happening. She was supposed to turn with
quick.
Dom, and everybody else was supposed to be the remaining
So,
heels,
quick.
Roxanne and Raquel.
Do you think that they have the storytelling nous to have Liv Morgan get screwed over by Roxanne the same way she screwed over Rhea Ripley, over the titles, over Dominic Mysterio, etc. Have a look at herself and be like, "Oh my god, I did this too," whatever. Have a little, like, sort of like fast forwarded, like, mini redemption
Yes,
arc, and you do
tasting
Liv
your
and
own
Rhea.
medicine, and yeah.
No, but you do Liv and Rhea versus Roxanne and Raquel.
Mm,
Because as a tag match, I'm sorry, the for my money, the best match on Night of Champions was Rhea and Raquel, and
yeah.
they don't always hit. They hit last weekend.
It was a damn good
So,
match. I
but what it makes me think
I
though,
was kind of upset with
and
the finish. I get what they went for because now she's facing Io, and that's the story they
yeah,
want to go with. But still, like I said, some of it is just lacking.
I get the fact that people wanted Asuka to face Io, but the whole point of it being after the results of Night of Champions, she would have had to go with, hey, at our most recent pay per view, Asuka took a pretty significant loss. Rhea got a pretty significant win.
Yeah,
How do you justify giving the title shot to
exactly.
your friend instead?
I think that's
And a lot of people
SummerSlam.
don't. Yeah,
Honestly, Spaz, I really would bet that that's
Asuka Io.
SummerSlam. Yeah,
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it.
I can see because so
And
many people want it, and that could be a big marquee match for one of the two nights because they need to really kind of put that in, and that's a dream match that people are clamoring for a long time now between these two for
oh,
a
of course it
title.
is. Yeah, yeah.
So that would
But if you
be
go back to
a
the
big
tag team
deal.
match that I was talking about, right? Like,
Yes,
we know what Raquel and Rhea can do.
yes,
Um, we've kind of seen what Roxanne and Rhea can do as like a David and Goliath thing. I'm very interested to see Roxanne and Liv hook up.
yeah,
And Liv facing Raquel, I don't know that we've seen that much of. There's a
no,
lot of that dynamic that we've seen before, but there's an equal amount of I really want to look at that. Again, it's like the whole
yeah.
Solo and Black thing.
Of course, you want to
But
look at Rhea again. I see what you're up to.
stupid sexy Rhea pin. Anyways, getting back to my initial point, because we all got to this through Black and Cross. I want them to
Yes.
be pushed to the moon, and I want them to have a really cool moment at the Rumble.
Well, as you mentioned, it
Um,
happened organically in the way it felt because, hey, R-Truth's crazy, he messed up your match. and he's trying to explain, "Hey, that's my buddy," and he's going
And
through a lot right now.
Priest is playing a really cool role of, like, he's not just blindly like, "Don't fuck with my friend."
Yeah, no, he's
He's like, "Look, man, I get where you're coming from, but I'm gonna defend my friend." Like,
yeah.
again, like we said before, slight difference makes it all the more credible.
It makes it all
And
the
Damian
more
Priest is I
acceptable. Yes.
still especially with him showing up on, NXT last night, I still wanna see Damian Priest versus Mike Santana.
Oh yeah, big time.
I love Okay, weird side note, part of the NXT pay-per-view is the contract signing for the TNA pay-per-view.
Really.
Have you not heard that?
I didn't watch
Trick
last night, so I didn't see I know all the
Trick
results and everything, but
yeah. Trick, Joe Hendry, and
and
Mike
Mike
Santana
Santana, yeah, I knew it was
are
a triple
all
threat.
going are all going to the Great American Bash to sign their contract for Slammiversary.
Wow, that's
I
pretty
I'm not
awesome.
okay, I'm a shitty NXT fan. I'm not even going to pretend that that makes sense, but it's kind of awesome.
No kidding. Because when is it? July 20th, I think.
I think I think it's the week after.
Yeah, it's
I think
Sunday,
it
July
is the week
20th.
after.
Because I said I wanted to
Yeah,
cover it, obviously with you. I mean,
yeah.
that's going to be a hell of a night. I'm excited.
It's gonna be a lot of fun. I think we're gonna get a lot more crossover.
I think so too. And
Um,
apparently, it's not supposed to be just NXT. I heard that they might bring in a few well, former NXT stars, but I've heard a few names thrown around for Slammiversary that could be pretty cool to see come
hey,
down.
maybe we get Psycho Clown and Pagano and
Oh God, no,
Mystery Iguana.
don't, Mr. Iguana, I'll take, but only so far. I know this isn't on your show notes, not on the
I know that's
docket
fine.
tonight, but I have a question for you. How did I don't think I actually know your opinion on Danhausen. I know you're like me. You like the all
The
of
funny stuff.
the comedy and
I
the horror
I
elements.
I like what the fuck was that character? Like Danhausen could show up in WWE and never wrestle and just do weird shit.
Yeah, and be a ton of
And
fun.
I haven't seen him enough as a wrestler, to be honest with you.
Like he's going in the ring, and then
Um,
all of a sudden he's on the apron, and they play tequila over the loudspeaker, and he's dancing, and then he kicks you in the face for the final tequila. Like it's just stupid shit like that. Like
yeah,
he's doing the Pee Wee Herman, dun, dun, dun,
I
dun, dun,
need
dun, dun.
I need a trios match at some point. Get some random like trio of assholes, and they're gonna take on
Oh boy.
Danhausen, Joe Hendry, and Mr.
S-
Iguana.
Oh, I was gonna say,
Oh my god!
you get
Oh
Santana, be the special guest referee, and then
no! If you get Joe Hendry along with Mr. Iguana and Danhausen, and all of them do the Joe Hendry turn or
yo
something fun
break
like
the
that.
internet.
Oh, it'll be way too many wrestlers having way too much fun. People won't like it.
Not all at once. Come on, make Mike
Psycho Clown.
Santana the
But
special guest ref and
potential
sign me up.
you hear potentially not only Psycho Clown but Octagon Jr. after his performance at what was it, Money in the Bank,
Yes.
are being offered actual
Or was it
WWE
Worlds Collide?
contracts. No, Octagon had the match the same day as
Yeah, that's
Worlds
right. That's
Collide.
right. They added it from
And
that
then
show. That's what it was.
yeah, because remember Dom was at Worlds Collide and he challenged him. He
Yep.
said,
Yeah.
"Come fight
For
me at
Money in
Money
the
in the Bank,"
Bank.
because fortunately enough, the GMs had only booked 4 matches for the pay-per-view.
Go
And then
figure.
we had
Weird.
we had the whole joke where Dominic Mysterio only fights shapes.
Yes, that's right. I forgot.
But I think that's kind of cool.
It's
I
been
mean,
hey,
don't bring everybody over all at once, obviously,
they can have fun with it.
yeah, throw a couple
There's
luchadors in there, it's
certainly ways
fine.
to have fun with it and do it the right way, and you know what I mean.
I mean,
Like,
I'm sure we're gonna get some interaction anyway, considering you have 2 guys on SmackDown with the AAA tag titles at the moment.
yeah.
Carrying them on SmackDown, by the way,
I was
with all
surprised that
the
Wyatt Six didn't win the tag titles. I really,
shenanigans.
yeah. But as you said, yeah, Danhausen's a lot of fun. They wasted him so badly in AEW. He really was something special.
What's
And
funny is you can cut and paste anybody's name in there, and that statement is still true,
yeah, the
unless it's the Bucks or
Hardys.
Sasha Banks.
Mm, now she's got more titles, huh?
Oh, for fuck's sake.
It just
You
keeps
saw her
going up and
online.
up.
She was, like, going back and forth on Twitter with some other chick that's like, "Oh, you have 6 belts, I have 7," right? And it's like 7 other indie belts, and I don't know who this other chick is, so I'm not gonna put her down. And Sasha's like, "Oh, 13 sounds good to me," and I'm just like, how are these companies letting this I don't wanna drag on this, but,
Yeah,
like, how
no,
are
but I
these
get your
companies letting it
point.
happen?
Exactly.
We're gonna touch on this when we get to All In, What the Fuck,
Yes.
but, let's talk about somebody way better than Sasha Banks.
Uh,
Way better than
that is
Sasha
that even
Banks.
possible? Could there be?
It's I get up out of bed and I'm better than Sasha Banks. Anyways, moving swiftly on. Um, Going from the new pushes to the new champions,
Yes.
Julia. I mean, it was the most
Mm.
obvious answer in the world. Zelina kinda got her walking papers a little bit last Friday. Julia as
Yeah.
champion.
So
The
what I
reason I'm bringing
heard
this up.
briefly was that Chelsea Green had to drop the title so she wouldn't lose to Julia. They felt like losing to Zelina Vega, and since Julia's a heel, they didn't want, Chelsea's supposed to be that heel role,
Ah,
even though she's cheered as a face because people love her for talking about maximizing your minutes. That girl does everything to make her
of course,
screen
yeah.
time, like her saluting herself still and crying, like that's rent free in my head. There's so many things that Chelsea has done, like the trash can moment with Mia Yim, that just little things, but like she's making memories with the fans, and that's, as you know, so important
Oh,
because
yeah.
that connection is like I just said. I could think of her name, and bam, this pops up. This pops up. I think of
Mhm.
Shotzi, and I remember her with the tank shooting freaking Bishop, right in the balls. Or Happy
Yep.
Corbin. There's little things like
Oh my
that.
god, yeah.
And it's just the little funnies, the little haha moments that you're just like, oh yeah, I remember now. That's it. Simple, but it's so important. And so seeing what comes out of it and Julia having this belt, I'm excited to see who she
What
gets
she
to
does,
tear
yeah.
through. Yeah, that's so now the US title is again interesting. Sadly, Zelina Vega never did it for me ever. Actually, I lie. When she was with Andrade, she was perfect.
Mm.
She is a great manager because I was like, oh shit, look at her do the Hurricane Run. Oh shit, look at her do the Spanish Fly. Like she's pulling out. She was good
She's
at being
really
the heater for
fun.
Andrade.
She's really fun when she's facing opponents bigger than her. I go back to the
Y-
Worlds Collide pay-per-views from several years ago when they were, like, additional, like, optional content type
Yeah,
things
it
from
was like 2 in
WrestleMania.
the afternoon on a Sunday.
Yeah, but there's a match, and we all know Bianca Belair is not my favorite person, so take this for what it's worth. There's a triple threat match, and it was Zelina Vega versus Bianca Belair versus Piper Niven, and it's one of it like, there's nothing to it. It's just an exhibition match,
Yeah.
but it's
But that's all
still
it has to
probably
be. Yeah.
it's still but yeah, but, like, that's what I'm saying, like, if it doesn't matter and it still grabs my attention, I give it
Mm-hmm.
even more credit.
Oh
It's
yeah.
still probably my favorite Zelina match. It might I was gonna say it might be my favorite Piper match too, but no, there's a bunch. If you look back in, NXT UK days, in the early days of that women's title,
Yeah.
there was a lot of three-way with her and Toni Storm and Rhea Ripley that, should have main evented shows and didn't.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way.
Sadly. No,
Um,
you're not wrong.
but, I the reason I bring up the Julia one first is we saw Julia and Stephanie Vacour land in NXT basically the same time, and we said, "Well, one of them's gonna grab the main title, one of them's gonna grab the mid title." They put the mid title on Stephanie Vacour, they put the main title on Julia, but Stephanie was the one that really overtook in popularity.
Yeah.
So, with
And that
Julia
was
now
not
being
expected for their plans either, which I kind of find hilarious,
well,
but
and you know what? With me not being very familiar with either one of them, it's like, okay, we're starting at ground zero. Let's see what I like and all. And Julia had that weird thing in the middle where she had to like leave for a bit and come back. Some people said it was visa, some people said it was an injury, and then they did
yeah,
the double title thing.
yeah, that
What
was
I'm asking you
strange.
now is, are they going to overcorrect that this time around with Stephanie Vacour being in the Evolution Battle Royal? Not to say that Julia won't be as well. Do you think they're gonna go the other way this time where Stephanie's the one that gets pushed to a world title while Julia sort of establishes a mid card? Are they gonna take one of NXT's few mistakes and make it better on the main roster?
Ah, so I hate being like, oh, the safe answer, but really, I'm kind of stuck. Like I'm being hopeful. I'm hoping things. improve and change, you know, but it's like we've seen the way things work so many times. So I'm still just very pessimistically optimistic.
Yeah. Because what we're saying right now, you set up the perfect I mean, we're gonna get the Rhea Io match at
Yeah.
Evolution, which is gonna be awesome. I don't think Rhea's gonna win. I think something's gonna come bite her in the ass one way or the
Yeah,
other.
and it's definitely going to be a great match. That was never my complaint either. It was just like we just saw this. Why not face Stephanie? Why not, you know, Vancouver? Why not face?
Yeah.
You know, there was other women that could have used the chance here. I know Rhea
But
just won, but it
if we're
works.
going from that, if we're going from Io Rhea at Evolution to Io Asuka at SummerSlam, and you manage to throw Stephanie in the mix, if you're looking at that Raw women's division with Bailey and Becky Lynch firmly established in their mid card, not mid card feud, but a feud over a mid card title. So they're sort of off the board at this point. If your main event scene on Monday Night Raw is Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Asuka, and Stephanie Vacour, you're pretty set.
Oh,
Like
absolutely.
you can run different combinations of that until Survivor Series if you
But
really want to.
Spaz, they raided NXT. They have no talent in NXT now. They took all the good women up to the main roster.
But that's okay because other women got called up from AEW. I'm an asshole. It's fine. Oh, nice to see that we finally got it confirmed that War Games is still War Games as well. Speaking of
Yeah,
Survivor Series,
yeah, that
because
is good to see.
they had the where is it, San Diego?
Yes,
No,
and
yeah,
yeah,
it was
San
just like
Diego.
Survivor Series San Diego, where the War Games thing
War
would have been.
Games?
Everybody got worried, and I'm like, all right, let's just do War Games.
But
Although
it does say
if you go
War
back
Games ever so
if
tiny.
you if you go back, well, it didn't, and
No,
then
no,
people
now,
freaked out,
yeah,
and they've
now it does.
modified it. Yeah, if you go back a couple of pods, I did make a pretty good case for why we could bring back Battle of the Brands and do it properly this time, and
Yep.
still include War Games in that. But I didn't necessarily go and fantasy book just
You
for
want a
myself.
real like
WWE versus
fantasy.
NXT NA.
Yeah, exactly. But you want a real like if they could only do like a faction warfare like that, like you know the performance center versus the main roster, it could be amazing. But my thing would
You know what?
be
If the groups hadn't fallen apart, right?
yeah,
If the groups hadn't fallen apart and you could build them properly, and don't pretend that Raw and SmackDown are two different things, but just pretend that WWE and NXT are two separate things. War Games, Damage Control versus Fatal Influence.
oh yeah. See, like right away, there's a lot of potential there for awesome matchups. My thought was to one up you, damn it.
Oh
What if
god.
we have a 3 team? So instead of doing 5 person war games, you do 4 team, but you do 3 teams.
Okay, so what they did with the first NXT War Games.
Yes, basically.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
And the tag style and all that. But I think that could be a lot of fun if they, you know what I mean? Like, you got
Oh,
an
like
NXT
Raw versus SmackDown versus
versus
NXT.
NXT, yeah.
Okay,
And
maybe.
there's something big on the line would be great, you know? And we've said before, draft picks
Sasha
and
Banks' ego.
fucking oh god, that's too big to pick up. I mean, I don't even know if the Rock could helicopter
I
that
don't.
thing out and tear him on.
I've never liked the whole like let's fight and the winner gets a draft pick for their brand because I'm gonna win and my boss is gonna benefit. Like you have to pick very carefully your character if you're gonna be doing something like that. Or you have to play up, hey, GM, I'm gonna get this for you. What do I get out of it? You have to talk. You can make it work, but you have to talk your way around it. You get what I mean?
Exactly. It can connect, but you just
It
got
can
to
connect,
get
but
it there.
you have to make sure you connect all the dots. Another pretty I mean, I don't want to say obvious champion, but an obvious turn of events.
Yes.
Solo Sikoa taking Fatu's US championship with the return of Tonga Loa and Tala Tonga.
Because he's taller than the tiny
Yep.
Tonga. So we got Tama Tonga, Tongaloa, and Tala Tonga.
Yes.
That's a fucking mouthful. Like
And
I was doing it on the stream the other day. You
Jason
say that 3
Mateo and
times
Solo
fast.
Sikoa. And Jason
Exactly.
Mateo and Solo Sikoa.
Yeah. So Talatonga,
But right now,
Tongaloa, and then Tamatonga. We got them.
right now, right now, there's no Tama Tonga, right?
Yes, he's not
So
he's not
so
there.
there's only 4 of them right now.
So Tongaloa and Talatonga, you're telling me?
Tala Tonga and Tongaloa and JC Mateo and Solo Sikoa versus Jacob Fatu, the Usos, and Roman Reigns.
Could be
It would
cool to
be the
have
most
Roman.
it would be the most one-sided war games
Oh
ever.
my god, could you imagine? Like, that would be brutal
I want
again. Well,
I
they
want to
lost the last
see
one, remember? His Bloodline
yeah,
2.0 got destroyed already,
fair,
so
yeah, fair, yeah. I wanna see Roman and Fatu kinda looking at each other being like, "Do we have to do this?" And then they all yeet, and then friggin' Fatu proceeds to have his, like, little boogeyman spasm that he does.
And then Rikishi comes out and bitches, saying, "My son, he needs all the titles."
I will say, I know people take a lot of shots at Solo Sikoa because he had a hard time finding, like, where he fits in all this. I really enjoyed him last weekend as well.
Oh,
The
yeah,
whole,
he
like,
did very well.
his overbearing sarcasm and the fact that he, like his thing is, like, do a mirror of anybody he's facing. So, like, he's facing Jimmy, he
Yeah,
does the yeet
exactly.
and the no yeet.
No, ye
His version of the Jacob Fatu, like, boogeyman shuffle, like, as soon as he stopped taking himself seriously, I'm like,
Yeah.
"Cool. Like, you're just a dickhead. You're not the tribal chief. You're the nerd in school that has, like, a couple of friends on the football team."
I remember
And I
I
think
think it was
it's
Santino
working,
talking,
though.
saying he didn't wanna do comedy. He was like, "No, no, no, I wanna do this, like, straight up at first," and then, you know, it's
Who was
like
this? Solo?
Santino no,
Oh,
Santino Marella.
Santino.
Like, you know, and you hear people be like, "No, no, 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 I don't wanna do comedy in my wrestling," and, you know, they're like, "Shut up, you're gonna do it," you know, that kinda thing, and then it ended up being it's like, that's what gets over, that's what gets with the crowd, that's how this connects, and,
If you're funny.
if you well, I'm saying, yeah, if you have what it
If you're
takes,
funny, yeah.
certainly, but more often than not,
I think
it's the character,
Santino's a
the
great
person.
Santino's a great example, like, because he's hard I shouldn't say he's not wrestling anymore because I saw him wrestle not too long ago, but he's hardly wrestling anymore. But
Yeah.
he's taken that character work into the director of authority role on TNA, whereas he can still be that character even though he's not wrestling anymore. So it's kind of awesome in that way as well. And the whole
Exactly.
fact that he got to do, like, co-authority figure thing with his daughter, and that was a lot of fun when she was the liaison, NXT-NA liaison. It's all good, and
But
they're
she's
both
done
more
so well
charismatic
with
than
it.
whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah, oh,
Ava
yeah,
people
and she's
shit on
good.
Ava all the
She's a good
time.
wrestler.
I
No,
still like Ava, I'm sorry. She
yeah,
wasn't meant to be a wrestler, but she's gotten better with her delivery, with her
yep,
all of it. She really is she's trying, and you can tell she genuinely has passion for it. She's a little dry,
yeah,
she's a little, you know, but if you go back and you watch her cut a promo on like even backstage pre-recorded
with the
from a year
schism.
ago to yeah, well, Schism was,
Yeah,
but if you go back from then to now, like
yeah.
holy hell, like she was a stuttering, flubbing mess back then. Now she's got
The problem that they're
confidence
gonna have
and
with Ava now is because she was really kind of soft-spoken before, and she's coming out of that, but because she's coming out of that, now she has that, "Take me seriously, god damn it," and we have enough of that from Hangman Page.
yep.
So she's getting there. What I like is because, again, it's another one of those, like, be the character, but then remind us you can wrestle every now and then, and, Ariana Grace was that for me. I got to see her when they did the TV tapings here in Brampton.
Yeah.
She had a match against Tessa Blanchard. Oh, no, that wasn't the tapings, it was on the pay-per-view. She had a match with Tessa Blanchard. You knew she wasn't gonna win, but, like, Jesus Christ, let her wrestle some more
Yeah, no
because
kidding.
she can do it.
She's got it, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, going through everybody, like they're giving people chances. You know, now Solo finally because Solo hasn't had a title, right? This is his first title reign.
Well, he had the North American title when they brought him to the main roster. So that it
Yeah,
was one of those, like, little, like,
but I don't count that main.
call up
I'm
club
saying
yeah,
he hasn't had anything on the
main
main
roster.
roster. Yeah, no, nothing, right?
Um,
You don't even think he had the tag titles.
I don't think so, no.
So this is a big deal, and it should. I love the way SmackDown opened. You know, you got him running out and beating the hell out of people already. Jacob's upset, and he wants to take down the bloodline already. He's going to need
Mhm.
backup, and like you said, I think Roman's coming for SummerSlam. You get the 4-on-4 then, or and that's
Well,
when
you
we'll
got
get
the
the
whole,
other.
like, Jimmy, like, both kind of doing the, "I don't really wanna admit that I need help, but I need help," like,
Yeah.
anti-toxic masculinity
Yes.
theme, whatever you wanna whatever you wanna call it. But, like, you've got them sorta loosely coming together. You've got the rumors of the Usos coming back together. Okay, we need one more guy. Um, if they do get Tama Tonga back as well, you call in Roman and Sammy, and I'm not saying it'll be the best match, but it's a match I'll take a look at. And so much of how I watch wrestling right now is like, maybe that won't be great, but I'll have a look at it.
Yeah.
It's like,
So
okay, positive note because we've shit on AEW quite a bit. They put the casino gauntlet thingamabob on the All In card. I
yes.
will watch that because I like the casino gauntlet.
See, I don't.
I don't know. I don't.
I know,
It's
I know.
flawed.
No, well, here's yeah,
It's flawed.
and you can win anytime. So people haven't even entered the match, and you can win already. So you want the number one spot, but you really don't because you know they're always going to make it through all the entrants.
I
Like
was
they
gonna
should
say,
have established that
well,
somebody could win already. They haven't.
they've
It's
done ones where they haven't introduced all the opponents.
not all, but they've what down to two, and they had the wild card already
Maybe.
put through. I believe it was so.
Yeah. Well, they've established that you can win before the last person comes out, which is the most important part of establishing that
Yeah.
gimmick. I think they're ever gonna do a, "Hey, here's number 1, here's number 2, one pins the other, and everybody else is fucked." I don't think they're gonna do that. But just but it's the same as, like, "Oh, number 1 in the Rumble, I'm really gonna go prove myself." Well, you're not. You're gonna get your ass kicked, unless you are he who shall not be named.
Yeah, there's several of
Um,
those, right? I mean, look at all the contract disputes that we've had on the AEW side. Miro being one, Ray Phoenix being one. You know, it is like we can go down the line with a lot of this. Oh, I didn't say WWE doesn't do it. WWE lets people
nope.
go, but I
Yeah.
feel like WWE when if they don't want you, they're going to let you go, and that's it. Like they're not they have gotten better about not just keeping people to just shelve them for the best part. You know, better part. Excuse me.
Yeah.
You look at Britt Baker, you know, former women's champ. She was pretty much the top of your women's division,
You
and
see what she
she,
put out this week, eh?
yeah,
The water bottle thing? And now,
yeah,
don't get me wrong, the water bottle, thing, for those of you that don't know, it's basically, if you go to a dollar store, like, a bottle of water is $1. If you go to a concert, the bottle's $10. So, if you don't think you're worth very much, maybe you're in the wrong place. Which is a nice message that I think she's not being all that subtle with as far as,
no,
like,
the
wanting
subtlety
to
went
not be
out the
there or
window
whatever.
like fucking disco. Like she knew what she was doing, but she did it in the most,
She's still being
uh,
more subtle than, Ray Phoenix,
yes,
taking the photos of himself in the
it's
straitjacket in the jail
yeah.
cell.
But she
But I
could
mean,
also
like,
say it's
let's be
unassuming. You know,
but
she can
people
say it's not the intent. Oh, I just said I want people to feel better about themselves. But really, we know the underlying
but see,
tone is
here's the
AEW.
thing about this though, is people complain about the Ray Phoenix thing, and I didn't have this on my list, but I'm gonna make this comparison now because nobody can can accuse me of being biased because John Moxley is a guy that I'm a fan of in general. People freaked out about the Ray Phoenix picture in the jail cell with the straitjacket and all that, but when John Moxley, Dean Ambrose first got let go of from WWE or got his release or left or whatever he decided to do, didn't he go and produce a whole video of himself breaking out of jail
Yes. Oh, yes. And
before
then
he
he's the
before
one
he
to
even showed up?
criticize. Yeah, he didn't even show that he was leaving, heading into AEW. All he did was put out the Mox trailer of him escaping the
Yeah.
Alcatraz, you know, alligator Alcatraz.
Oh
And like
man, I
there's
could say some things, but people will get upset.
I know, but like I'm looking through. Forbes has their new list. Tony Khan under fire amid disgruntled AEW talent. You know, and
Mhm.
obviously we got Starks and Phoenix and all their contracts and whatnot. But apparently there's
Yep.
many in the back right now that says this: no one stays in a place where they've received terrible treatment. You know, we've heard the quotes, but now it's being echoed by many, and we see the viewership fall in that 500,000 range. And oh, we're getting 1 million on, you know, no, even the Zaslav and others confirm that that's not happening with Max. They're getting, what did they
Yeah.
say, 25% of their viewership. So
I don't even know.
that's what
I
he
stopped
said.
listening because it's all bullshit.
So I mean,
But you know what it makes me think of, right? Like, okay, we cannot solve every problem in the world with memes and whatever, but like some of them are appropriate, right? Some of them like fit certain situations, and there's a lot of them like when you look online and you see like job postings or you see like different employment agencies and whatever, a lot of them use that meme of nobody ever quits a job, most people quit bosses.
Yes.
Like
And
that's
I like
it
this
is what it
report
is.
here. Like they said, exclusive. Our sources confirmed there are several AEW talents who are not comfortable with their role in the company. These talents were hesitant to explore WWE as a real alternative due to the feeling of uncertainty about getting lost, quote, in the system monster that is WWE, end quote. Others, because they previously did not have the television time and prominence that they would have wanted during their past stint in WWE. However, that feeling of uncertainty has been eradicated as seeing Penta's debut, how they handled Cody, as well as those talents who want to leave AEW due to their current role in the company, being realized that having the AEW brand on their resume becomes a strength and a negotiating asset they can use to
Mhm.
their advantage. Because of this, those talents who are not happy with their current status in AEW are more willing to consider WWE as an alternative agency, with two of said talents confirming that they are going to explore free agency, specifically with WWE at the end of summer 2025. The talents
Boom.
feel more secure and confident in achieving success in a company like WWE, and they say, without a doubt, the cultural shift that comes with these signings will go ahead and change the landscape of wrestling. So
Boom.
that's
But
a
you know what I
big
want to say?
deal.
Like some of the language in that in the very beginning, right?
Yes.
There's two, or sorry, the way that some of that sounded closer to the beginning, right? There's two different things happening.
It's
If
also
you've got people,
translated from Lucha Libre Online, so it wasn't Spanish. So I think some of it is also translated poorly.
okay,
If it,
no, but I just want to make
just for
a
fairness, so you
differential.
know.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, we'll take it on a loose basis then. I think there's a huge difference between somebody who's in a company like AEW, isn't quite sure where they fit right now, isn't quite confident with their place, is having a hard time finding their footing, and thinking like, how am I doing here? There's a difference between that person and the person that has decided, I don't want to be here anymore, and they're not letting me leave.
Yeah.
Like somebody who's just not quite happy with how they're progressing. Like you could have some like carry. Okay, say carrying cross was as misused as was being projected for a while, right? I wish I was better. I'm gonna go on social media and cause a fuss and get some more attention on myself, and maybe that'll get me in a better place and whatever. That's a lot different, and that's a different set of motivation than somebody that has already come to the conclusion this is not where I should be, and they won't let me go anywhere else.
I mean,
And
it
it's
kind of
it's a huge
seems like,
thing.
yeah.
Kinda ties into a couple of, small AEW notes I've got here at the bottom. Before we, switch over into that category, there's one more set of, new champions that we need to talk about, and that is the Judgment Day
Yes.
with, Finn and JD.
What a match
I
this was. People were like, oh, 5 stars, 5 stars. I wouldn't go 5 stars, but this was an excellent tag match. And I'm hijacking the show quickly because
Yeah, go.
Vince went ahead and it is true, and we've said this on Into Somewhere recently. Cody and I mentioned that Vince, and this came from Dax, FTR and dealing with all them, but they're right.
Yeah.
Vince devalued tag team wrestling because he didn't like it. He felt like he had to pay for 2 stars, so tag teams were always paid less, and he brought them down to the mid card. But if you look back, and when the territories were strong, it's tag teams were sometimes bigger than the actual singles champ at times. The Road Warrior pop exists
I was gonna
because
say
of
the Legion of Doom is the prime example. Like,
yeah,
as much as I can say, "Oh, my favorite's the Hardys," or whatever, like, Legion of Doom is like, they were your main event tag team.
exactly. And like you
They're
said,
not gonna give you 5 stars in the Tokyo Dome, brother, and it didn't matter.
no. Iron Man hit, oh yeah, dun, dun, and people just lost their goddamn mind, and that's all you needed. So I see why putting emphasis on the tag team division is great. I know they wanted to drape all of Judgment Day in gold because as of right
Yes.
now, Judgment Day would have been broken up as far as this current formation. Liv and Dominic would have already been forced out. Raquel would have teamed with Roxanne, and I mean it was all reported. So that's why we know there. Dominic's injury is a work. And so many people are like,
Right.
no, it's a rib. He doesn't have rib contusions suddenly without wrestling, and he didn't get hurt. Like, maybe practicing, but from every angle and every possible thing that we've seen so far, it was a win-win because they're holding off due to Liv's injury. Finn was
Yeah.
turning on him. That was it. That was they've said this for months now. And I was like, oh, why did they tell us it was happening at Night of Champions? Like, one, that's so far away. Like, we thought this was going to happen at Mania when he pinned him for the title to win the IC title, and instead it just kind of left us waiting and waiting and wait.
I still think it'll be funny because Roxanne was brought in by Finn, like, so
Yes.
she's gonna be on that side when this all falls apart. I still think it'll be funny if they walk into the Evolution, four-way tag, and she walks into the ring and lies down. It won't make for a very good match, and
No, but
everybody will
it
be
would be a
pissed,
statement.
but it'll be a big old fuck you, big old fuck you. You know what? Outside of the story, right? Outside of the Judgment Day breaking up and just looking at the tag match as the tag match, couple of things I love about this, right? New Day are heels, right? And
Yes.
it's a struggle because their heel turn is off the back of Big E, who's not there to be part of the story anymore.
Yeah.
New Day are the only team I can think of that are heels right now, but don't have a numbers advantage. Now there's the stuff with Grayson Waller that they're teasing, but like Judgment Day on a regular basis would say, "Oh, there's two of us in the match, but there's five of us outside the ring." Or Bloodline, any incarnation, like we're having a match or we're having a tag match, but there's a numbers thing. So New Day are the only really like prominently like, oh my god, look how devious these guys are that don't really have a numbers advantage. And that was countered by the fact that we didn't get any bullshit from Judgment Day either. And here's
Yeah. Go
four
figure.
guys. Like, how good is JD? How good is Finn? How good are the New Day? When was the last time that they got to just any one of
Oh
those four
yeah.
guys got to go out and just have a match that was remember how the fuck good I am?
And they didn't have a ton of time either. I think it was like 12 minutes, but they told such a great story in that time. They isolated JD. Well, he couldn't get the hot tag
Hmm.
from Finn. They kept him away. When Finn finally came in, he stomps, with the coup de grace and his own partner. There were so many times where I felt like it was a foregone
They
conclusion
stole
and they were going to
they
lose.
stole the Big E finisher.
Yes, the big ending
Did
in
you
the
keep
corner.
just
They have a
keep
new name
Big
for it,
E in the
but
back of mind? That's the Midnight Hour.
Midnight Hour. I always forget it.
Yeah.
But they go ahead and just one after the other. You get the kick out after Finn gets hit with the belt. I'm like, oh, there's that. They got me. Usually, I'm well aware, of the layout of the match and how it's going to turn out. This one got me. I was kind of thinking there may be a title change, but I wasn't convinced. And one of my favorite spots was early on where JD's draped over the top rope, and then you have Xavier come off the top rope and basically do a back double foot stomp onto him. So it looks great, but he's also using the momentum to actually springboard him up and backwards. So not only does he get the stomp effect, but then he also
Yeah.
goes flying backwards. He launches himself with his momentum off the freaking rope. It looks so good, and he goes flying
Mhm.
backwards. That boy can fly.
Of course, yeah.
He has such
And
great
I
control
think
of his body.
the isolation of JD works as well because he's not a new guy,
No.
but like he's an NXT guy. That's always in the back of the mind. He's also like the student of Finn Balor in real life.
Yeah.
So if there's a quote unquote junior in the match, it's him. Like
Exactly.
even though he's like reached the echelon now, like he's not a student anymore.
No.
But if you're teaming with your former teacher, you're gonna be looked at as a student. And they kind of look the same, except
They
he's a
do.
bobblehead. It's fine. I don't know. I just think like there's a lot of like I'm able to ignore a lot of bullshit, interference, false finish. I'm able to ignore a lot of that because most of it serves a story.
Yeah.
But like, even though there was a title involved, I would put this in the category of match for match's sake because it was just a really fucking good match.
Oh,
There
yeah.
happened to be titles on the line.
Yeah. There
Um,
was no story heading into this. What, that the New Day only defended it twice the entire time?
yeah.
This was the second defense? I
Judgment
forget.
Day was okay. Finn
Judgment Day
and
had him
JD,
forever, and they didn't defend him either. So,
true. Finn and JD were like situational face in this match.
yeah, absolutely. And that's
Which
what
is funny
is
because
dangerous.
when the Judgment Day splits, Finn's gonna be the heel
Exactly
because
why it's an
everybody loves
issue.
Liv. It's an issue, but it's also like he's having a lot of fun playing with it. He's like he's reached that point where he's being a dick, but people love how good he is at being a dick. So
Yeah.
they're with him for the ride, even though they're supposed to boo him.
They're enjoying it. They're
Does that make
smiling.
sense? Yeah.
Exactly. Makes
All
perfect
right.
sense.
Now that we've talked about the good company, let's talk about the other.
Uh-oh.
Recent interview, and this is like coming from Keith Lee, who's a nice guy who doesn't really say shit about anybody. But Keith
At
Lee made
all.
it known in multiple interviews, basically throwing his hands up in the air, like, yeah, guys, I'm good. I'm good to go. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm cleared. I'm literally waiting for the call.
When was the last time we saw him? 2023, I think? When he was
Yeah.
against Swerve and then they split up randomly and then
With the
never got
bricks
the
that were made out
match.
of dust.
Yeah. So
I
terrible.
mean, to be fair, like not to land on AEW totally, but he has been in and out of multiple medical issues. So the last time we saw him was not like he had an issue that day and then it was fine. So
Yeah.
I don't want to over exaggerate because
No, but
he's dealt with multiple things, right?
he's been good to go
Uh,
for a while now.
a whole long while, yeah. And he married, didn't he marry Mia Yim's
Yeah.
sister?
I thought it was Miss Meechin, no?
No, maybe I don't know. I have no idea.
Either way.
Anyways,
I,
moving swiftly on.
I thought it was her and Keith Lee, actually.
Maybe,
I'll double check, but
maybe I'm talking out of my ass. Somebody else married. Oh no, it's Big E that married Mia Yim's sister.
yes.
Remember when New Day was like, "Go back to your desk job and your wife."
Oh, yes.
Anyways, so not that's not the point, but yeah, like if it was somebody random that just
That's not
liked to
why I
bitch,
called.
yeah, this isn't where I parked my car.
Oh, that's not where my oh god.
But no, I just think it's worth mentioning that like how can I say this? If it was somebody that's just out there and like to make smart ass comments all the time and like to stir the pot and like to cause shit, I wouldn't even think about this. Like, oh yeah, I'm good to go. Even Ricky Starks, even though we know it was
Yeah.
true, but we knew he was also kind of a sarcastic guy who would like stir things up and whatever. Like maybe he is just causing a bit of shit. Maybe he's
He
not.
was
Who
being
knows?
a heel. You could see it. Like you might
Something
be
like
able
that.
to
Yeah.
suspend
But
disbelief a bit.
Keith
He's
Lee
too
has
nice.
he's played a good guy and he is a good guy from what everybody heard.
Yeah.
And I don't think with the amount of struggles he's had personally in the past little while that he would play with, hey, I'm good, hey, I'm not good to push a story or whatever because it's not a story because he's not on TV.
Yeah, exactly.
Um and worth mentioning on the other side of the coin, somebody who was insanely featured for a little bit in AEW before they decided to fuck off and go to the good company, Blake Monroe slash Mariah May, has said in her own set of multiple interviews that I haven't like basically I didn't feel comfortable saying it until now, but I felt dejected and rejected for most of 2024
Yeah, which
in my wrestling career. And
really is upsetting to hear.
she goes on to say that part of that is because she didn't think that WWE was ever going to happen. And
Yeah.
the other part of that was what she was doing at the time. Now, it's an interesting conversation because you can't say AEW didn't feature her because
Yeah,
she was
exactly.
in like the best women's feud they had. My biggest thing, and one of the reasons like put the competition stuff to one side for a
Okay.
second. And yes, I know that's me saying it, guys. Calm down. But like she did some really cool stuff with Tony Storm, right? But what do you think of her run other than her and Tony Storm? Like
Yeah.
she had one feud realistically, and in that feud, it wasn't her feud. It was she was a part of Tony's run.
And here's the thing, it
Like
never made sense why she turned heel either. She
no,
won,
okay. Whether or not, okay, that's
but that
something
hurt her
we've
character. That
of course it did.
did. So
Of course it
that
did.
was a huge
I'm not
issue.
even But I'm not even talking about the quality of the story.
No.
It's a valid point, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
100% it's a valid point. I think you and I cut that up like 2
Uh,
weeks ago
yeah,
when
I'm
we
just
talked
saying
about
that
it.
it seemed like she never had a chance because how could the fans It wasn't like it was heat for heat's
How can they
sake.
get
It was
behind
just a
her?
swerve. Yeah, they didn't
Like, you're
even
not
want to
supposed to
boo
get
her.
behind a he you're not supposed to get behind a heel, but you're supposed to at least understand why they're doing what they're doing.
Yes, and never
My
mind
thing
that,
is
they didn't even wanna boo her, though. They was just like, "Oh, you attacked Tony, but why?" Like, it just felt flat.
my thing is and not discounting any of that. My bigger point is how much do you see her flesh out as a character when half of her run was literally cosplaying as another wrestler,
Yeah.
and the other half of her run where she got to be herself was still with that same wrestler.
Yeah,
Like, you don't
exactly.
get I think she's great. I thought she was great. I think Tony's great. Tony's gimmick isn't for me, but I give her all the credit in the world for how much she puts herself into it and all of that. But how much do you get of somebody if A, you only see them fight one person, and B, it's pretty obvious that you're there to be an accessory to that other person's story. With no disrespect to Tony Storm, obviously, but like she was there to be an accessory in the Tony Storm story.
Yeah,
So
and
they she was featured very well, she was featured very prominently. I will give AEW the credit on that side. On the other side, they gave her no variety at all.
yeah, it just
So
killed it just it was a, "Oh, you're blonde, you're hot, go do that." And then even then, like,
yeah,
the motivations
and then
weren't there.
They threw in Mina Shirakawa, and she went and shook her tits for a bit,
Yeah,
and that's fine.
and that was poorly executed as well. Like, a lot of it was just it was dumb. I'm sorry, like,
Mm,
that's such a lackluster word to say with this, but that's really what it felt
yeah,
like. It was just disappointingly dumb.
yeah.
That's the best I
I
could
think
say
it's
with it.
safe to say, and you could say the same thing in WWE, don't get me wrong. You can be put on a high platform in a particular company and still not be in a fulfilling, like, challenging position. So, but somebody like that's never gonna wanna say, "Hey, I'm not being challenged," or whatever, because somebody's gonna then turn around and just say you're being ungrateful.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
so I feel bad for her in a way because she's in a place where, like, she has complaints, but how dare you complain? Look how much they're featuring you. And that's gotta be tough. And same like, to be fair, I wanna balance it out a little bit. Same thing could happen in WWE. It
Yeah.
really could. Like, let somebody be Bianca Belair's opponent for 3 months straight. If they never win and they never do anything else, yes, they're featured, but they're being featured as a loser. They're being featured as an accessory. They're being featured as a and I'm sorry, it is what it is.
Yeah,
Like,
no, no doubt about it.
when Bianca Belair decides that, and this is not, again, people don't freak out. This is not a dig at Bianca Belair. As soon as Bianca Belair's hand is healed and she decides she wants that title back, she's getting it back from Tiffany Stratton,
Yeah, no kidding.
which
I
is
mean,
really sad for me to say like that. But
but it's happening.
I do at some point, because they're both megastars, so I don't think they'll be in the tag team division for long. At least once, I need to see the Barbenheimer tag team of Tiffany Stratton and Rhea Ripley.
Yeah.
I think that'd
I
be a lot of fun.
That would be. And Rhea,
People are
we've
gonna get
seen her in
really,
tag
really upset
teams and
when they see how many blondes are featured at Evolution.
but we've seen Rhea
Okay,
in tag
guys,
teams
I'm gonna say
before.
this. I'm gonna say this, right? Spoiler for what I'm about to say because it has to do with Friday.
Uh-oh.
People that hate blondes, how dare you be white and blonde and successful, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You've got Alexa Bliss, Charlotte Flair,
Yeah.
Tiffany Stratton, and Trish Stratus
It
all in title matches. Oh, the SJWs are gonna eat their own poo.
but they're complaining. Meanwhile, Jade is queen of the ring,
Yep.
and Naomi has the Money in the Bank briefcase, and oh, my head. Oh, Bez, make
Co-
it stop
Co- Co-
hurting.
Cody and Jade decided that cheesy crowns in a Saudi Arabia pay-per-view are more valuable than the TBS and TNT titles.
Yeah.
I'm an asshole. It's fine. Now, if we can't steal back Keith Lee and we can't enjoy Blake Monroe, who's hopefully not feeling dejected anymore in 2025, um, WWE, we already talked about this, but it's come up again in the news cycle again this week, so it's worth talking about again. WWE want Private Party and they want Danhausen.
Yeah.
Now, can I add 3 more names to that list?
Please do, because we discussed Danhausen earlier. We covered him and Private Party. I mean, you can always use another tag team, sure, but
Monday night, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. Monday night could use a bolster
it
on their
needs a
tag
few.
roster
Yeah, they need a few
of
tag teams.
of a tag team that's a tag team, not a couple of people from a faction.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you don't always want to say, "Oh, let's hire them just to make up the numbers," but we could do that. We could hire a couple of teams just to make up the numbers. If the Revival want to come back to the A show, get called up from AEW, it's fine.
Yeah.
So Private Party and Danhausen, we already kind of talked about. Can I add 3 more names to that? And I know they're not none of them are everybody's cup of tea. Abaddon, Paige, Britt Baker.
So Soraya, like you said, Paige has been kind of saying things online. We mentioned it briefly, and we've seen it before. Britt with the same thing with the water and your value. Paige was saying, "Oh, I have to look it up now," but she was talking earlier, basically being like, "Hey, it's when is the Evolution show?" And I was like, "Ooh, that's kind of funny."
She's been saying nobody's called me to be part of Evolution.
Yeah, she's like, "Evolution is
So
this weekend?" Question mark. She said that 4 hours ago, and it's got
oh, okay.
454,000 views already. So clearly,
Yeah. But no, she was asked by a couple people too, but it seems like she was saying nobody's talked to me about Evolution
yeah,
so much that somebody's definitely talked to her about
eh,
Evolution.
yeah, something's going on. She's gonna show up as maybe in the Battle Royal. Imagine that would be incredible. I would be so excited for that.
You know what? Somebody might think I'm crazy for this because they're already kind of stacked. They just got Grace and they just got Monroe and JC Jane's doing all right. I wouldn't hate seeing Paige back in NXT. I know
No,
it's not like the biggest, baddest, best use of her, probably, but why not?
I
Like
mean,
SmackDown and Raw are kind of stacked. They just NXT just lost a couple of really big names with Roxanne and Stephanie and Julia. Paige down there for a little bit. Do a thing where okay, Britt Baker was like the main chick in AEW, and then Paige came to like or Soraya, sorry, came to like challenge her almost. Like they could kind of tried to do like a shitty invasion type thing that
yeah,
didn't like to be fair, it didn't really work because I don't think any of them felt like invaders really. But
okay, I
if
get
you
that.
if you have Paige, who really made her mark in NXT the first time around, she goes back she comes back home in tight air quotes, yeah, do the cheesy thing to NXT, and her surprise return to NXT is interrupted by Britt Baker.
You see, and that would be great. I think that's a way to go with it.
Yep.
I mean, the
Didn't
women's
my
division is
ex-husband
already
used to work
stacked.
here?
Exactly. Is he? He's not here, right? He's not here.
Oh,
And you see
oh god.
Daniel Bryan running down the hallway, just yelling, "Yes."
Oh, I just had a really bad thought there because even though Paige and Britt Baker could be opponents, they could both walk into NXT and both make sure their exes aren't there.
Yeah, no kidding.
I'm an asshole. It's fine. I don't know.
You
I
crack
don't
me up.
even I don't even think she needs to like main event WrestleMania. I just like
No.
Paige. Like we know so much that we shouldn't know about her real life that I'm just rooting for something for her at this point.
Oh yeah,
Like
absolutely.
sentimental favorite, I think is like the term. Like no, don't give her a million belts. Don't have her come in and bitch slap Rhea Ripley or anything like that. Just have her show up. Have her get
Yeah,
the pop.
just let her
Have her
do
get
it.
the
Come
pop.
on, come
Yeah.
on.
And Britt Baker shows up and says, "Who?"
You know
That's
what?
that which sucks because I like Britt Baker too, but
Maybe they can have Britt learn how to hit the Oblivion in the meantime till Liv gets back. She can learn
oh
it from Dom.
no. No, she can be another one in the long list of people that does a better buckshot than the emo cowboy.
One thing we didn't get to say for Night of Champions, how funny was it when Robinson running down to the ring full speed and
He got
then
pounced.
Oh, and Spicina, and you can see him kind of like look to the right, like, "Oh, this
Didn't he
is
go
gonna
on, like
suck."
he went on, like, Busted Open or something just to, like, throw his face on screen and be like, "Hey, guys, if anybody's wondering, I'm doing okay."
I'm not dead.
Yeah. He seems like a guy that's got a good sense of humor about
Yeah,
things. Like,
everybody seems to
I've seen
always
him in
enjoy
I see him in,
him,
like, little
so
tiny clips of interviews, and people usually have like, he got saddled with that, like, oh, little Ric Flair thing in WCW, and it never really went away. So, that's not, it's not the greatest of connotations these days, but,
yeah, no doubt about it.
no, I will say, as far as a top to bottom show, like I said, I didn't get to join you on the review. The Saudi show, it's still a Saudi show,
It was
but
just
I think
very
I
of the
think it was
moment.
one yeah, I think it was probably one of the more enjoyable ones that they've done, and, like, sort of newsworthy, but not trying to be a regular pay-per-view, like, it still knew what it was. They did the
Yeah.
big pomp and circumstance for the crowns and whatnot, and people don't like that Jade won, and Saudi Arabia is racist, apparently, according to everybody, because they cheered for Asuka.
Yep, and Roman Reigns just had another child, so maybe we won't see him for
Hey,
a while.
and he's been cast in Street Fighter.
Yep, and did you notice the way Solo carried the title out just like Roman, draping it over his back?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's shades of, like, him acting like Roman now, so I think they're
But
really.
see, I don't think it's shades. I think he's taking the piss out of him. Like there's no more tribal chief story at all, but he's still trying to make it something.
Yeah,
Then you
exactly.
get then you get Jacob Fatu doing the Bully Ray thing, just wearing the belt around his neck.
Yep,
Because who's done that? Early days, Cena did that,
yeah,
Bully Ray did that, and now Jacob was doing it until he didn't have
and it fit for
didn't
the
have the
3 of
title
them.
anymore.
Bubba was
Yeah.
crazy, Cena was doing the gangsta shit, hustle, loyalty, respect, and,
Oh, I haven't had okay, I know we're gonna end up wrapping this up eventually. I need to get your thoughts.
uh-oh.
Speaking of gangster shit, I got 2 words for you.
Uh-oh.
Punk life.
Oh, uh, so, mm, I love that he did it because he went for it,
Yes. Yes.
and that was
That's okay.
my yeah, that was, like, how I felt, and it was like he put it all into it, he ate it up. He didn't go out there and, like, be all sullen and down and downtrodden. No, he
And it was
fucking delivered.
spectacularly shit.
Yes, but it was spectacular shit in the best way
Mhm.
possible because it was just Punk having fun, and people don't like to see him enjoying himself. Was it the best
Oh,
promo
for
ever?
sure.
No, but it wasn't set out to be. It was just to get
No.
in John's head. That was the whole point of
No,
saying,
it
like,
was meant well, see, I take it one step further than that. It was entirely made to show John Cena how lame he is.
yes, yes, that's what I'm saying. Like, get in his head and,
Yeah.
and be like, look at you, you were just this cookie cutter nothing. Oh, anybody could have done this. You didn't have what a real pipe bomb took, and I was like, yes, all
And
by
you know what?
implication.
You know what? Shoot me. I like the Cena bomb as well.
I, you know, I, I'm not. Yeah, I'll shoot you. I'm not away with it either. I don't disagree. I liked it. The only thing that I had a hard time with, I wish he hit Punk like really, really knocked him out with the belt first or something, and
Oh,
then
because he
put
had
him
to
through the
sit there
table.
dead forever? Yeah.
Yeah, or Cena should have just went up to the fucking ramp and done it up there
But you
instead
know
of
what it
sitting
is?
in the ring.
It's one of those things that, like, and I know everybody's got their own level of, like, what they accept. I
Yeah,
get that, and yours might be different than mine, might be different than whoever's listening right now. But, like, somebody gets hit with a random clothesline and they're out for a second. If that same person is like the special guest referee next week and gets hit with that clothesline, they're out for 20 minutes.
yeah.
It's wrestling.
Oh, that's the thing, and
And
we know that.
we snapped into a Slim Jim. Ooh yeah.
It was just hard because it was literally just him on the camera.
Yep.
So it's hard to like, here's my blinders,
Yep.
So we'll see
I
what
like
comes
that
of it.
they
But
called out who was it? It was Matt Cardona and Nick Nemeth.
Matt and Nick, and then they said also mentioning
Claudio.
yeah, was for CC, Claudio Castagnoli, Colt Cabana.
Colt Cabana, yeah.
Yeah, so those were definitely intended to do that. He's like, that was genius of him, and it just worked out well too. I
But
wonder
it's
if
also
Cena
like
was
the
like,
same,
"Oh, that works."
like somebody dug out some old interviews of Punk like after he left the company, and specifically Cesaro, Zack Ryder, and Dolph Ziggler were the 3 guys that he was like, "I'm not wrestling anymore. You should pay attention to these guys."
Yeah.
So it was a deep cut on that level as well. Much like dates on a calendar, Matt and Nick don't own the names Matt and Nick.
No.
So we
So
weren't so I don't wanna hear any, accusations of, people being counter named. Is this something? Is this anything?
I mean, I say people saying like, "Oh, because I criticized Jade's performance at Crown Jewel," and it was bad.
Mm.
It was not good. I'm
At Night of
sorry.
Champions, you mean?
Net Champions. Yeah, sorry. You knew what I
Yeah.
meant. I have not slept since Sunday, so I'm dragging. But I was like, I'm not trying to hate, but it gets to a point, girl, where that pin was like her shoulders were sideways. You had like you even
Yeah.
botched your pin there. Like I know she's
Yep.
because they keep putting her out in these high caliber moments instead of letting her have like she needs matches on SmackDown, not blowout matches either, where she's just squashing her opponent. She needs to legitimately be working with talent week in, week out, and building up that repertoire. She needs to
Yeah.
have, that you're not going to be able to do it till you do it kind of thing. In wrestling, you got to do it to do it. I know that sounds idiotic to say, but that is as truthful as you could
Yeah.
be. Slick's
Yeah.
a trainer
See,
nearby, and he used to
there's
say that
legitimate
to Patrick. You just, full speed ahead. You just have to do it.
there's legitimate criticism of Jade Cargill, and then on the other side of the coin, there's the people that are like, "Oh, unless you cheered Jade Cargill, you're this or that or whatever." And I put it in the same category because I like Jade. I think I made this point last podcast. I really like her, and she's another one that I like. There's something there, and I just want good shit for her, but don't like the people that are trying to support her, don't go back on those, "Oh, you better like her or you're whatever."
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna compare it. Ironheart came out last week slash this week
Oh
on
yeah.
Disney Plus, right?
Yes.
And I've seen the whole thing. I'm going to sum it up as I like her character. The show was terrible. The show had a bunch of really shit messages in it that are really, really bad reflections of social things going on in the world right now. So
Yeah.
I think hers was a decent character because she was introduced in Wakanda Forever, right?
Yeah.
I like her character, and what she felt like to me in the show was a good character trapped in a bad show.
No,
But
I agree.
the thing about it was everybody that was like, "Oh, better like it or we're gonna call you this or that." And I'm like, "Here's me. I didn't love the show. I didn't despise the show. But as somebody that kind of is on the Marvel train regardless, I'm looking at the people that are pulling this shit and I'm like, "You know what you're doing right now is going to push more people away, right?"
Yeah. Oh,
Like people that were on the
absolutely.
fence, people like me that were on the fence are going to make me not like it because liking it means I have to put up with assholes like you.
Mhm.
I would enjoy AEW 10 times more if it wasn't for Bucks fans. And it's the
Yeah.
same and it's the same thing with Jade, right? I'm sitting here saying, "I think Jade's a star. She's good at everything but the wrestling," was I think what I said last week, which
But
is a
it's
really
true.
shitty joke that I stopped telling. I want good things for her, as a star that I'm watching on my TV. The
Yes.
other people that are like, "You have to like her or you're this," as somebody who kind of wants to support her, I'm like, "Don't do that. You're gonna make people shit on her because they'd really just like to hop on X and shit on you. Mindless,
Exactly.
nameless, faceless egg on X."
So, really quick, and you won't be able to hear the pop, but your lovely audience will briefly.
Yep.
One person continuing with this thread that I want to see something good happen to is Austin Theory. I have
Yes.
watched him continually now just get better and better and better, but not be used and not be utilized. That man has such a deep move set, and I know they say they hate that term, but it's true. He's got it in spades. There's highlight reels on like TikTok and stuff that just shows him pulling out things that I haven't either ever seen or haven't seen in years. It's incredible what he can do. And you hear here really quick, he gets the hot tag from Grayson Waller on main event the other night in Pennsylvania. And that crowd, that was one of the loudest pops, they said. Like that's incredible.
Nice.
He deserves it. And I'm shocked they didn't break up already. You know, it's been a very slow
Well, they're teasing the
build.
thing with Waller and the New Day.
Yeah, them
So is
being together. So
are they gonna do some bullshit of like we want to show our ex-friend Big E how replaceable he is. So this is Big G or something.
I was
Honestly,
kind of hoping that, you know, if we were going to talk about anybody getting a leg up, it was going to be Omos, and he was going to be El Grande Americano. I thought
oh my
that
god, but it's
would
Nick
have
Big
been.
Kaiser though.
I
Oh
know,
yeah.
but that would have been the most like hilarious thing they could have done in my eyes.
You know what I
Imagine
want to
his
see?
music hits and it's
Honestly,
Omos.
I want to see them run
Omos.
a gimmick because we don't know how long. Hello.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, sorry, my
You're good.
Discord just my Discord just made a noise. I would love them to do a gimmick where, like, until Gable comes back, every time El Grande Americano has a match, it's somebody else.
Yeah,
And,
that.
like, get the most obvious people with, like,
Oh
the
yeah.
obvious different body types or the obvious different tattoo. Like, remember when
1
Jericho was
week, Damian
Penta?
Priest. Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
remember
There's
when
so
Jericho was
many.
Penta? And it's like
Yeah.
as soon as you saw the Fozzy tattoo, it's like, no.
Yeah, but as soon as he you didn't know at first because he hits him with the code breaker. You're like, wait, what? Like that was such a great Jericho moment. I'll give it to him. What a build
You know,
that was.
ultimately, if you want to go with long, here's what you want to do. You want to go with long-term storytelling.
Yeah,
Have American Made pick whoever their random fake El Grande Americano is going to be for the night. Have that El Grande Americano be taken out. And then when it comes to El Grande Americano's match, who wants to stick it to Chad Gable more than anybody else?
who's that?
El Grande Otis.
That's
Ooh,
right.
yeah.
Oh yeah, he never got a chance to actually fight. So
Otis just comes out and does like a naked Midian with a freaking luchador
yeah.
mask on.
Oh
with
God,
with his fanny pack.
his man purse. I got my man purse and I wear it strong.
Oh, I couldn't think of a better way to end this week's pod than that, obviously. Otis as a naked luchador.
With
That's
a
something
fanny
we can take to
pack.
the bank. And what else we can take to the bank is where do we find you, sir?
You can find me on YouTube. It's Jake Countdown Ended DeMarco, on Twitter at Countdown Ended, on Instagram, and on Rumble as well. And soon enough, we're going to be on TikTok. It's going to be into dot somewhere. So we're working on going live
Nice.
there soon as well. Branching out.
Nice.
How you doing, fellow kids?
Hello there, fellow children. Have a nice day. No, enjoy your next 24 hours. And you guys know where to find me, or you wouldn't be here. I've been Spaz. This has been Jake. This has been kind of an extended edition of the State of Wrestling. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later. But for right now, me, Super Sexy Jake, we are tagging out. Bye, guys.
Next week's going to be busy.